Momonosuke once again tells Yamato not to interfere with his fight with Ryakuju. Yamato asked why, but Momonosuke was knocked to the ground by Ryakuju. Seeing that Momo was cornered, Reizo then used Ninpo Maki Maki no Jutsu Kaden to set fire to Ryakuju, who acts like it hurts before dropping his charade and revealing that he is capable of casting a technique that makes him impervious to fire. Ryakuju, who was angry, then stabbed Reizo's chest with its root and started to drain his energy. This makes the samurai angry and do their best to help Reizo, so that Denjiro, Kawamatsu and the Komamushi were also entangled in those roots. Meanwhile, the interior of the castle is downstairs. Kozuki Sukiyaki's secret room shows him with Nico Robin. Then Trafalgar Law joined, using his room. The three of them then walked further underground, from the secret Sukiyaki room. When the former shogun admitted that Kaido and Orochi could still find the road poneglyph underground because of Jack. Yes, because Jack, he is a fishman. Robin asks what does he mean, and the Sukiyaki explained that they would understand soon enough. Law then asked how far it was, and Sukiyaki said, if the distance is until we arrived at several hundreds of years ago, just as the two of them saw a faint light coming from the glass window. The two then looked into it and were shocked by what they saw. If the whole city was underwater, Sukiyaki explained that what they saw was Wano, in particular from 800 years ago. Although he didn't know how things got like that, Robin said that the city looked well preserved, as if the water is not sea water, and Sukiyaki said from his theory long ago Wano was much bigger and is at sea level on land around the foot of Mount Fuji. But at some point, a wall was erected around him, which closes the island and prevents rainwater from escaping, which caused the old city to be buried. The land at the top of the mountain was reserved for settlers, and finally became Wano, who is today. The three finally arrive at their destination and find a road poneglyph, marking it as the third path that Mujiwara pirates need. Sukiyaki later said that if one traveled deeper, they would find the ancient weapon Pluton. Outside the flower capital, Ryakuju tells the samurai that it is indeed sad, but Kaido's government is what makes this country have the strength to repel enemy attacks from outside. He once again demanded that Luffy be brought before him and promises to leave after he kills her. Yamato then asked Momonosuke to summon Luffy and the others to defeat Ryakuju, but Momo refuses to involve them. Momo also tells Yamato that she doesn't want to taint Yamato's departure after being imprisoned for so long, and after relying on the Straw Hat for so long. He needs to prove that Momo and his followers can take care of themselves once they're gone, where Momo keeps asking Ryakuju to leave, and finally manages to materialize Kaido's Balabbard, which really damages Ryakuju's body. The samurai and Yamato react in amazement at Momonosuke's accomplishments as the Ryakuju tree form burns to ash. Ryakuju is able to regenerate from his sapling and regain its tree form, where he announces he will kill her if she continues to get in his way. However, Ryakuju felt a very strong Hyoshoku Haki blast coming from Shanks, which caused him to return to his normal form. He reacts with surprise that the Akagami pirates are nearby, because Shanks himself said that he thought going after the new generation of pirates when they were exhausted seemed like an act of cowardice, and Shanks asked firmly, "Are you that afraid of the coming of a new age?" Shanks' presence convinces Ryakuju to abandon his mission. Yamato as well as the samurai celebrate their victory. Meanwhile, Luffy, Zoro, Sanji and Jinbei were sitting on the hillside and watching the fight, and said that their samurai friends were truly extraordinary and strong. In the capital castle, Reizo and Shinobu are nursed back to health by Miyagi and Tristan, while Kinemon was forced to admit that Ryakuju had a point when referring to the presence of Kaido, who protects Wano country from enemy attacks. She apologizes to everyone for not being there. Previously, Nekomamushi brushed it aside and asked Kinemon how Zoro was doing. Kinemon explains that he is safe and well, with only serious burns on his face. Even though Okobore City had been burnt, she blushed in acknowledging her beauty even after all these years. While Inuarashi, Kikinoyo and also Reizo express their feelings about the sentimentalist Kinemon. Meanwhile, in the remaining part of Okobore City, Suru and Koko talk about Kinemon's return and how Suru plans to move to the flower capital so she can continue to be by her husband's side. Carrot was then summoned to the castle and announced to be the new ruler of Makimo country, and this certainly made him very surprised. Inuarashi and Nekomamushi explained this decision by telling him that they both chose to stay in Wano to serve Momonosuke and leave the next heir in Carrot's hands because of his experience at sea. Carrot disagrees, saying there are so many people stronger than him. But Inuarashi and Wanda support the decision by saying that their duty is to protect their country, and most importantly, he carries Pedro's will in his heart. Then, on the other hand, Kozuki Sukiyaki showed himself to his grandchildren and also the samurai, assuming all the samurai had known about it too, except Kinemon, who internally expressed surprise at Sukiyaki's survival. In another room, Frankie and the Straw Hat members find out from Robin that Plutons do exist in Wano, but he hasn't seen them. Robin asks Luffy if he wants to get it, and here Luffy refused on the grounds that he didn't need it. But Robin asked why Odin wanted to release him into the world. A young-looking woman then intervenes in the conversation, who turns out to be Shinobu, having regained her youthful form after Raikuju's attack. On the other hand, a nearby eavesdropping Caribou is shocked by the truth about the Pluton and must tell that person the truth of this. A few days later, the flower capital was busy again in the castle. Momonosuke barged into a room to ask Zoro to teach him some sword techniques, but didn't find anyone. He looked around the castle and found out from Hiri and Deku that they were gone. After saying goodbye to everyone except him and Kinemon, then we are taken to the Takajuden port. Luffy, Law, and Kid choose their next destination via a pose log. The two of them separated because their alliance had ended with the defeat of Big Mom and also Kaido. Luffy and Kid chose to go east while Law decided to go northeast, on the grounds that it was the shortest route to reach the next island, where Luffy and Kid grab straws to decide who will take that route. And Luffy loses in the end, saying Kid he is now the emperor, even though he lost. When discussing about Yonko, Orsi Emperor Kid took out a flyer and voiced his strong dislike towards Buggy and his new organization that is Cross Guild. With former Shichibukai, Crocodile and also Dracula Mihawk as his subordinates, he has become a figure strong enough to earn the title of Yonko. Zoro then voices his disbelief that Mihawk would be anyone's subordinate, and Luffy said Buggy was an idiot. Kid revealed that Buggy used his company to give bounties to Marine members, while commenting how much the outside world has changed. While they were in Wano, Law gave Kid a copy of the road pornglyph at Wano. Kid revealed that his crew had managed to retrieve it from Wool Cake Island some time ago. Killer states that in order to take part in the upcoming war for One Piece, they need to find the man with the burnt scars. Luffy questioned him about it before Kid left, as he told Luffy that they now had an advantage over Luffy and his crew. Then we go back to the castle, where we see Momonosuke and Kinemon looking for Yamato, where it turns out Yamato was on the roof the whole time, where he announced that he was abandoning his plans to join the Straw Hats. and will live like Kozuki Odin in the land of Wano.